Welcome back to the Troubleshooting Like podcast. I'm your host, Craig Poston, with my co-host, Jay Peters, where we talk about various topics, sharing our experiences on life and finance. What's up, man?
What is going on?
Not much. You know, just another day or night for us. Yeah.
Night. We gotta do these off hours, man.
Yeah. Had your drill weekend. Got mine next weekend.
Yeah, those are always fun. You know, for those that don't know, that's sarcastic because the shit's kind of boring. Or it can be.
Yeah. Well,
it is what you make of it, right? So yeah. Yeah. If only I had, my weekend was in Hawaii, that'd be nice, but it's not a thing. So.
Yeah. No. You're a little far away from that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have this, but once a quarter, say if you're assigned out there, if your actual unit is out there, but instead of say here in Texas, our minimum requirement would be to travel once a quarter, and then for the information warfare type field, I think they'll allow once a month to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's definitely not. Well, I'm not saying that other units might not have that, but yeah, the unit I'm at, we don't have something like that. Which would, it would be cool.
Yeah.
Like, say, well, I got to go out here to Hawaii for a little bit.
Yeah. I'll just be out there in Hawaii, doing some work on the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. So when we were actually coming back from Hawaii, there was a reserve unit activating.
Yeah.
At that time, because it was a bunch of people. And what kind of pissed me off is that they're all on our flight too. So when they call for boarding and stuff, and they said military boarding. I'm definitely jumping in line, no doubt. But it was half the plane was military boarding.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever did Space A. Yeah, I want to consider. Yeah, was it something like that, Space A? Because you have this order you have to go by.
No, it wasn't like that. No, because I remember doing Space A when I was a dependent, and my mom was active duty, and we were flying from here to get to Portugal.
Yeah.
Stuff. Now that was rough. That's a rough experience, especially if you don't plan out really well. But it financially can be fairly beneficial if you're going someplace that's not commonly traveled, or during a time that it's not commonly traveled, and you kind of sneak in and stuff. And of course, I think you could call, the day of, or maybe the night before, to check for availability. But when my experience with it was pretty rough.
No, I've actually had some pretty good experience. Because you're right, you have to do some planning. A lot of them now, they have Facebook. You can go on Facebook, kind of see the flights, and then if the something really important, you can call them, find out, like, hey, you got any seats coming up? Yeah. And because we've had some butt puckers where we thought, oh man, there's no flights coming, and then all of a sudden, then all of a sudden, 40 seats show up. Now, boom, that means we're getting on there.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know. Have you done it as a reservist though, or just on active?
Nah, only on active. Because you sit at a higher category, so so you'll be a priority. Only mission stuff would be probably ahead of you if it was something mission wise. Then you get booted to the side. But besides that, no, you're getting on that plane. But it's always great when there's a lot of seats, because that means you kind of look around. Not every, I know everybody's gonna get on this plane.
Yeah.
Versus it's just, oh no, we got to stop here.
Yeah.
All you're doing is hitching a ride. That's all it is.
Just picking up available seating.
Yeah. You get sit in there with cargo, because it's been times I've been on a flight and it was cargo in there and stuff. So because that's basically what it's for, right? They're basically going to deliver something to another place, or unless it's mission wise, they need to get people over to a different area. And yeah, you just hop on and you just catch that ride for free. And going from Germany to back to the States, yeah, I probably paid $11 for food because they have some in-flight stuff that you can eat. I mean, not the best food. It's just so you don't starve.
Yeah, just enough so they don't starve.
Yeah.
Some mushy rice and some questionable looking meat.
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember. Obviously, it wasn't that great. If I don't remember, maybe it's sandwiches or something. I can't. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd smash a sandwich. I don't know. Some of the stuff that they be serving is kind of sketch, man. Last year, I know when we were traveling and stuff, they still weren't doing hot food and
Yeah.
stuff, or even prepared food, even cold prepared food. They were just doing a sandwich and chips and stuff, which is kind of jank, and that's some I call foul on the airline industry for that one. But this year, yeah, they were definitely serving stuff on the planes and stuff, and I was trying to make my girl comfortable on the flight, so I got her a first class ticket.
Yeah.
On the way to Hawaii, because anyone that's had to travel overseas knows that those flights can be pretty long.
Yeah.
So the one we took was, I think, 7 hours from Phoenix. And yeah, so I got her a first class flight to make her more comfortable. And dude, she got more stuff than I did. Man, I paid for that thing and I didn't even get that. Like, she got an entree, 2 snacks, real food type snacks, a burger and stuff. I got peanuts back here and a little biscuit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Hey, but you made it though.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm chill. Like you said, military. You get used to being uncomfortable, or
yeah, exactly.
or not being in comfort. I should say, maybe not being.
Yeah. So that actually could tie into our title for today. So yeah, life is a beast. I'm just here to tame it.
Before we get to that, how's the goals going?
Goals. Okay. My goals right now was basically saving money. So I am headed in that direction of, I could possibly hit my goal of saving certain amount of money. My job actually gave out a bonus, so it actually kind of pushed it along. So, okay, maybe I can make it. Maybe, because at first I was skeptical.
Waterfall money.
Yeah, because it was kind of skeptical because I'm not sure because I had to pay for some stuff, and man, it's putting a dent in this plan of mine. Yeah, and then the other goal was just getting to know more people that can help me and on my path of real estate. So again, like I said, my neighbor, he actually is a general contractor, and he also know other general contractors. So
was that the count yesterday?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if we had a little gathering at my house, so that's what Jay's talking about there.
As a backstory for the listeners.
Yeah. So, and then my sister was giving me some people over in where she lived, real estate agents. Yeah, so I can figure out what I'm gonna do there, because I feel like that's a good low barrier of entry. So I want to try that because the taxes are definitely lower in that area, where my sister lived. Yeah. So that was so I would say the goals are moving. Maybe not moving the way I wanted to move, but they are moving. So, yeah.
All right, we talked in the last podcast. It's not about, taking the next right step. It's just taking the next step.
Yeah.
All right. So,
yeah, what about you, man?
It's been going, man. We finally finished up the property, just doing small little touch-ups here and there, just getting stuff cleaned up and presentable. Gonna go by tomorrow, probably power wash a little bit, and then take some pictures.
Yeah.
Put it out there, man. Put it out there. Get it rented out this month. Continue on to the next, man.
Yeah. That's some exciting stuff there. Yes, I can't wait till I catch a good deal. And I guess it really isn't about the good deal. It's just getting in the game. So
yeah, the money will work a little bit more for you in the bricks than it will in the bank, I guess. So
yeah,
I mean, the market's ever changing. So
yeah,
another thing I started getting into recently is trying to purchase equity and through like crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Stuff. So like, there's a company that I heard of called the Black Bread Company.
Yeah.
And it's like they just came out back in like 2020, I believe, and it's the first and I think only Black-owned sliced bread company like to date. At least here in the United States. I don't know about anywhere else, because like you'll have like Black-owned businesses where they'll own bakeries and stuff, but like the companies that serve sliced bread, like in grocery stores and stuff like that, like Nature's Own. I don't know any other bread companies. That's about it.
One
I think is one.
Wonder Bread.
Wonder Bread. I get whatever the store brand is. Right? If it's not the store brand, I don't know what it is. But no, yeah, and like you got to listen to guys' stories. Like the three cats from Chicago, and it was it was influenced during the George Floyd fiasco and incident.
Yeah.
But no, one of the guys, he was going out for groceries, and he was everyone typically buys bread, but he was like into that kick where he was only buying or purchasing things by Black owned companies, right? And like he was going down the bread aisle and he was looking up stuff on his phone, and he could never find like any of these companies if they were owned by African American people. And he said, and he figured out that none of them are, like no company is. So him and a couple of his buddies decided to make a company themselves. When I heard about them, and I heard that they were like crowdfunding, and what they were doing is that they were offering like shares or stock in the company or crowdfunding. I was like, man, I got to jump on that. All right. So, and then, I mean, there's other companies that do it, but I just saw an opportunity. Wanted to jump in on something.
Yeah.
I literally just did that yesterday morning. So
okay, yeah, that sounds again something exciting. That's something I haven't done before either. So that's and then that's what I've been trying to conquer more. I guess take more risk, just like, or even just find new hobbies. Anything that it's just different things. It's like I told you about swimming, right? I know I had mentioned it on the podcast, but I just taken up swimming more. And I didn't realize how much energy you have to spend, when you're trying to do laps. So
trying to do laps is great because I know I can't do laps. Like dude, laps are hard.
Yeah,
Michael Phelps makes it look so easy, but
and that's why he got those shoulders. If you look at how he's built, yeah. And because shoulders are a big part of that pushing your body through the water. Yeah,
a lot. Full body, everything, like just because like you're pulling your body with your upper body, right?
Yeah.
So, as your legs are kicking, you're still working those. So
you
feel everything, especially when you're out. You're like, dang, man, that was a good workout.
Yeah. So that's something else that I've been working on. So now, can we get to the topic now? But that was good though. To circle back around.
Grease the skids.
Yeah, because that was my bad, skipping over our lines here. But so life is a beast. I'm just here to tame it. So obviously, we just even our conversation, we just saw how much where life can take us. How many things that you can actually do, and how many things can actually change your life. Just like how you were saying earlier with the Space A, and just how we adjust and adapt to whatever we need to. And it's all because it's life, right? And life throws whatever at you. And if you don't try to adjust to it, then it'll tame you instead of you tame it, Yeah. So
some people, they'll buckle under, right? Some people just can't handle some of the things that get thrown at them.
Yeah.
Preparing for certain situations, right? Or not, just hardening your mind, right? Or your outlook on life. Like try to look at the lens of everything's like sunshine and rainbows. Not saying everything is dull and rainy and gloomy, but having like the realistic perspective that like not everything is going to go perfect, right? You're going to get punched in the mouth, right? Maybe not physically, I don't know.
You might as well say you're lying, man. Everybody got a plan to get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, everybody's got a plan to get punched in the mouth. And that's true. Like whether it was, it's physical, right? Because like, man, if you ever gotten punched in the mouth, like physically, like it don't feel like really, it don't like you ain't looking to get punched in the mouth, right? But like really expect that.
Yeah,
happen. Life can happen that way. Things will happen to you that you just don't expect, but you can't just buckle under. You can't just need to take the punches, right? You have to learn to get up from those punches and maybe throw some if you need to. But yeah, like I said, it's a beast, man.
Yeah. So, and I guess it'll go to the first part of what we're going to talk about with life as a beast, right? Yeah. Like, what do you want out of life, right? So if you can understand what you want out of life, then you can, again, have those focus lenses on to help you get to, get in a direction. At least you can see the direction you want to go in. Because if you don't have some type of plan or just some thought of what you want to do, then you're easily knocked off your path, right? I call it like, knocked off my pivot. I'll say that. Because, like if you don't have a good balance, especially like if you're playing basketball or whatever, and you're pivoting, someone can knock you off balance real quick, So and that was something that I kind of always look at now, like, have a goal set. Don't try to be too bullish, right? But have a goal set, go in the direction of that goal, and just don't let too many people tell you what you should be doing. You do the research, you find out, you kind of take into account whatever they're saying, and just you're like, okay, let me research what they're talking about. Let me see if they're making sense or if they're just talking out their butthole, right? Yeah, because that happens a lot. People assume they know what's going on, and try to tell you this, and then they don't know,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's always the first thing. Like, hey, what do you want? Just like how we talk about real estate, we know a direction we want to go in, right? Yeah. Or as I was saying last night, $1 million net worth, right? I know a direction I want to go in, and all I need to do now is make a plan. And regardless of what anybody say, oh, that's too hard, that's crazy, you should live life, whatever, right? I know what I want. I'm gonna go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That people should really build out that vision for their life. And I think the earlier you do it, the better life can be, or the potential that you can realize that vision becomes, right? And, certain things like when I grew up, I was a fairly like quiet, shy person, and I just didn't want to, I wasn't great at talking, right? Or so I focused on listening, right? But like during that time, like in that times of loneliness where I wasn't going towards people or wasn't being too social, right? Just being like the introvert I am, I really wanted to like dial in and focus on what I wanted, right? And a good way I figured that out was looking at the things that I didn't want to happen. So for example, like if you grew up in an impoverished household, right? And you don't want that for your life. Like you don't want to struggle day to day to make ends meet. You don't want to come home and wonder if you're going to eat or not, right? And I'm not saying it has to be that extreme, right? But say even like relationship wise, like you don't like the way that your parents act toward each other, right? If they argue a lot, if they're not together, whatever it is, right? There's those are the things that will influence your vision, right? So you wanting to be at a certain wealth level, you wanting to be in a specific like mental, emotional state when you get to certain ages, right? And one of the things that really helped me form my vision, one of the things I kind of go by is that I wanted to be the person that I needed at that point, right? So, and I kind of talked about it here, like when after joining the military, coming back as a reservist and stuff, and moving out, it was a struggle, right? I just didn't know what I was getting into, but I still embraced the suck, embraced the struggle. But it helped callous me, it helped grow me, because I didn't want to go through that, and I didn't want anyone else to go through that, or at least part of my legacy, part of my family to go through that. So and what I do, like whether I'm a sailor, whether I'm at work, I try to mentor someone that, especially if I see them in a situation that I used to be in, like, well, this is what helped me get past this, right? So I think really growing that vision is very like integral to help taming life in general.
Yeah, no, I can see that, because as as we're saying here, having that plan, having that vision, having the thoughts of where you want to be, where you want to go, what do you want to do, right? And not being tamed by life, because when I say being tamed by life, it's like when you let it beat you down, right? You turn to drugs or alcohol, you turn to whatever it is, your vice to help you get through life, right? Numb life, because life is still going on regardless if whatever you're doing, right? If you think you're stepping off into another time zone, which you're not, or not time zone, but time dimension, but you're still in the same time zone, same dimension, same whatever, right? And you should definitely focus on getting through whatever it is you're getting through, because just trying to let life tame you and just float with life as it is, you'll lose. I'll say that though. And I guess this is it goes to the next point, right? We should take more responsibility for the things in our life. I'm trying to think of because I've heard podcasts talk about it. I've even in the military, I remember we had a sergeant major, and how he looked at things like things in your 3-foot bubble. Take care of things in your 3-foot bubble. And when he mostly said this, he was talking about kind of like your battle buddy, right? The people around you, taking care of them, because it's your responsibility. Because if you're in arm's length to take care of a person, take care of that person. And this is one of those things that when it comes to your responsibilities, right, which they're going to all be within arm's reach, regardless if they're not in your reach, if it's your actual responsibility. And you should always take, be responsible for the, your actions, be responsible for, whatever's going on. Because one thing that I stopped looking at, regardless if people believe in good luck, bad luck, whatever, right? I stopped looking at good luck and bad luck. I started looking at what can cause the bad luck, what can cause the good luck. Now, some things are chance, right? Being in the right position, because that's how some people thought of Michael Jordan, right? He moved around so much on the court, he was always in the right position to take the shot, right?
Had to be, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. You chances can happen, but you're making those chances, just like how he made those chances, all right? And when it comes to bad luck, okay, the first thing you should, say to yourself, what did I not do, right? And that's how I start looking at things, like, what did I not do? It's just like how, the first time I ruined my credit, or the second time I ruined my credit, or whatever, right? Yeah. So, I had to think about, what did I do wrong, and that way, that's kind of like one of those things you put in your toolkit, the lessons learned, not to do that again. And then another way to tame life, right? Always taking responsibility for your actions or for things around you that could be, that could cause harm in some way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, because one of the things about like taking responsibility, and maybe it's just because I've experienced with other people, is that there's a point where it's not your mom and dad's fault anymore. Right?
Yeah.
It's not your mom and dad's fault for the way you do things, right? And I always say this, that it's not your fault for being in a situation, but it's your fault for staying in a situation.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you're an adult, right? Like all your parents had to do was feed you, clothe you, and make sure you made to your 18, right?
Yeah.
After that, it's you. It's all you, right? And maybe we don't have that social norm to move out as soon as we become an adult nowadays. But I think people should kind of go back to that, because they start to put more and more responsibility or defer responsibility to their parents, right? Like, it's still their parents' responsibility to take care of them, to feed them, to clothe them, to provide shelter, right?
Yeah.
They expect their parents to pass them down something. But no, take responsibility for your own life, right? It's your life. And the reason why you need to take responsibility is because it is your life, right? When you're not taking responsibility, then, like Craig said, people will tell you what you have to do or what you should do.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't want to be like that, then move out. Like, people think it's unfair that if you're living in your parents' house, if you're an adult, you ain't paying no rent, and they're still telling you got a curfew. No, that's fair, because it's their place, right? It ain't no hotel. It's not a place for you just to come and go as you please. They got rules. If you don't like them, then get out of that space, and take responsibility for your life. Find a place, like, clothe yourself, feed yourself, find shelter. Right. And another part of responsibility is, if you can't be responsible for yourself, then, like Craig said, how can you be responsible for others, right? Whether that's, in the military, whether it's your soldiers, your shipmates, just the people around you, you have to take care of yourself. And that 3-foot bubble, you're in that 3-foot bubble, right? You got to know how to take care of yourself before you can take care of others.
Yeah. Because I kind of like the point you're making about the, getting out, moving out on your own. And yeah, you're right. It's becoming more and more common in society to come back home and stay at home, right? Yeah, like you're getting a second childhood, which it's not true. You got to move on in your life, right? Yeah. I mean, I tell my kids, and they're young right now, and I tell them, hey, you're getting out at 18, right? And not that it's like totally true, but it's going to be somewhat true, because they're going to be out of my home in some way or fashion, or they're going to either go off to college, or they're going to go start a business, or they're going to start a trade. They're going to go do something. Coming back to the home is only an option if, it goes through the review board, right? And that'll be me and my wife, right? We're the review boards, right? So we're basically going to say, hey, is this your last resort to come back home? And most of the time it's not. I found that out on my own too. You say you're ready to come back home because something's not going right, but like, you start to sit back and you think of other options, and you realize that you had a few more options and stashed away that you didn't even think about. And And that's basically how it was with me. I think I had told my stepmom I was actually going to move back home because I was having a tough time in Dallas. And then when I hung up the phone, I don't know, it just clicked. And I was like, no, I'm not. And I just kept moving forward with the ideas that I had, constantly kept looking for a job. And I think that's when I finally started looking into going into the military, because it was one of my plans. This is something I thought of in the past, and it was resurfacing. And I was like, well, how about I give it a shot? Let's see what's going on there. And that's the reason why I was kind of, hitting on that again when you're talking about how the social norm is, right, with that. And it's just like how with the student loans, right? I think it's a great idea, right, with the student loans, because I believe that they're using money that was already there. That's just my belief, because if you're a person of low income, or you don't even have to be low income, you could be in a certain situation where the government deemed that you get grants, right?
Yeah.
And normally I think it was like, what, 2,500? Was it 2,500 a semester or 2,500 a year? It was something of the sort, right? So you could receive money. And just think about it. If you did 4 semesters and you receive grants all 4 semesters, what is that like, right? Isn't that like 10 grand? Yeah. So basically that's how I saw it. I didn't see it as someone was getting a free ride or anything like that. Now, I do kind of believe what some other people say, where they shouldn't pay the whole thing off. No, you got to be responsible for something, right? So.
And I think, and kind of going into the student loan repayment or payoff, I agree that, or I don't disagree that it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
What I do think that should have happened better is that they definitely should have offset it between income and actual debt requirement.
Yeah.
So for example, people that took out, say, a couple $100,000 in loans and they are above that income threshold, but that doesn't make the debt easier to pay off, right? Just because you're making a certain amount of money, because you're still paying taxes, you still have obligations, and and everyone could be screaming out, well, that's their fault for taking out the loans. You're right. Sometimes it is their fault, but especially when you're young, when your family is unaware, some of those can be very predatory, right?
People
got to realize that school is not necessarily in your best or looking out for your best interest, especially from a financial standpoint, right? Yes, they want to teach you, they want to instruct you, they want to help you grow in learning, but when it comes to you paying them, then that's a different story, right? That's a different department, that's a different half of the school that may not be looking in your best interests. So I can't cut on people for doing that just as much as I can't cut on the government trying to help out or pay off some people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think all they did was pretty much push down the income level, because when it comes to grants, you literally can't be making much money at all to receive those grants. And they actually made it where a normal household could actually get some money now, which is, so that's the reason why I don't really, get upset about the whole thing. I don't get upset about any of it. I mean, eventually someone's going to have to pay the piper regardless, right? When you look at it. Yeah, and when I went through school, I actually received, it might not have been a big thing of counseling, but we sat down with someone, and as we were signing documents, they made us acknowledge what you are about to go into. And I'm not sure if they do that anymore, but they probably should go back to that, where they sit you down and tell you you're about to sign loans and you're about to be responsible for this. And I remember this because this was the first time I ever signed for loans, and they basically, you had to go see a certain person before you sign these loans, and then they kind of talk to you about it. And maybe that's what they need, is to have that counseling there that lets you know that, hey, this is you. This is, and that was another reason why I went into the military, because it was one of the goals set, right? I was trying to come up with ideas to quickly pay off my student loans. And not to say that was quickly through the military, it was not, but when I was trying to come up with ideas, okay, so say if I moved back in with my parents, because they didn't help me with college at all, right? And they were, I was like, hey, could I stay here for a little bit? Even though I realized that it wasn't working, so I ended up moving out again. And this time I stayed out. But it was the idea behind it. I was like, I'd take the money in, and then I was going to actually just go ahead and just start, because if they weren't going to charge me rent, then pretty much my student loans were going to be my rent. Right. Yeah. And that was the idea. That's how I was going to do it. Even though other things came up, I started to get anxious and go, nope, I'm ready to go live my life. So that's when I made plans to move to Dallas. So, yeah. So yeah, I know that was stretched out a little bit longer, but you start talking about pushing people out of the house, and yeah, I believe in it. Yeah. No, it wasn't PTSD for me because I actually wanted to move out. I got a lot of backlash from my parents. So when I made the decision to leave, they felt like they knew what was best for my life. In reality, in somewhat they may have known, but they didn't know because they didn't account for ambition. They didn't account for a person who wanted to succeed.
Yeah.
They
They didn't account for your vision.
Yeah,
what they had a vision for you. You had a vision for you, right? You can't have both.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey everyone, quick interruption. I just wanted to say from both Craig and I, thank you for taking the time to listen to us and our random rambling about life. If you have enjoyed this and think even one other person will enjoy this, then please share out this link, whether you found us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. It costs no money and little time, but would have a great positive impact for our podcast and brand. All right, enough with the shameless plug. Let's get back to the podcast.
All right. So the next one down, we're going to talk about redirecting negative energy. So when I'm talking about redirecting negative energy, that's usually what people are probably they're saying to you, all right, or what they're you feel like you're getting talked about, or how someone looks at you because of your ideas, or what do you plan on doing with your life, right? So when you redirect that negative energy, you put it into something positive, right? Whether it's your hobby or you actually just buckle down more to whatever your goal is, right? If you're headed in a certain direction, if you got something to immerse yourself into to create that new person that you want to be. So using that negative energy to fuel it, right? I actually had a first sergeant used to say this. I actually like it. It's pretty cool, right? He's like, you haven't succeeded today if you hadn't gained a one hater. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something along that sort, right? Because there's always a hater, right? There's always, like, when you're trying to make it somewhere, there's always a hater lurking, right? They always want to know why you, right? And it's not even about you. You're actually looking. You're just looking for something else. What you're looking for is not there, and you're looking for something else. And it may be one of those things like everyone wants, what's that? Misery loves company. Everyone wants to, be, the same. They want to feel like no one else is different. And that may be, why that it comes about. But like, taking that negative energy that someone's like, that aura that's coming off of them, you turned it into something else. You turned it into something positive. So, because in the end, once you meet your goal, and if your goal is strategically planned out, how I would think most goals would be, right? You're actually you're hitting one goal to hit another goal. So this is an endless, goal cycle. So, and along the time you're actually becoming successful, you may not look at how successful you're becoming, but in that process, you're becoming successful. How do you feel about that one?
So, like Craig said, haters gonna hate. And one thing that I remember when I was younger is that people would say like haters feed me, right? And it's a little kind of a joke and kind of silly to say, but it's true though, right? Like haters do feed you, right? Or they can, right? Like if you look at any someone that's of popularity or of influence or that's got clout, right? They're gonna have haters, right? Not everyone's gonna be on your side. And like we were saying in the beginning, you have to build that vision, right? And it's your vision. It's not anyone else's vision. So they don't have to support you, right? And not just like negative people, like even people that could be hyping you up, because what you don't want to do as well is get an ego, right? Or get that fixation that, I'm doing great. I'm not saying, don't do great things or don't feel like you're not doing great things. Yeah. What I'm saying is have some humility on top of it. Right, because as your ego gets bigger, your vision kind of gets blurred, and you're no longer reaching for the things that you wanted to. Right, you kind of get stymied. Right, you hit this ceiling that someone put on you, and it shouldn't have been there. Right, because that wasn't part of your vision. But the negativity thing, people are going to be negative, right? People aren't going to see the same vision you have for yourself. Then things don't align all the way. And like Craig said, misery enjoys company. And people just don't like seeing others succeed because they have inadequacies about themselves, right? They're not going in a certain way in life, or their life just not going what they planned. So they feel like, you getting your way, and it could be, slight digs. It's like, oh, you had a better childhood, right? You grew up with, certain thing, silver spoon, whatever it is, right? When that's necessarily not the case, right? Statistically, people that are given like a silver spoon don't reach certain heights, like how people of current success have been. One of the things that I read about, like one of the sheiks that runs Dubai, right, or owns Dubai, is that he said that his father or his grandfather rode a camel. His father rode a camel, right? He like rides like like a Lambo, like a Rolls Royce. His son runs like in a Rolls Royce or something, and his grandson rides in a Rolls Royce though. But he said like his great grandson and even further generations will probably ride in a camel, and the reason why is because his success isn't going to breed more success, right? His success is going to breed more complacency, more being comfortable with current situations and not having to want to work for it.
Yeah.
Right. So those things that you think are negative, you can turn them into a positive, because if there are things happening negatively, that means you're going in a direction of resistance, right? And it's easy to buckle under that resistance and want to stay in that space, but realize that when you break through that resistance, that's when you'll hit success. And just because there's not resistance doesn't mean you're not successful, but expect there to be resistance when you're hitting those strides and those goals and those milestones that you've been wanting to achieve.
Yeah, because I like how you spoke on that about the sheik, right? I was reading something where when it comes to wealth, right, by the third generation, they're trying to burn through the money because they don't know the struggles to getting that money. So that was along the line of, kind of the same thing I was reading.
And then that is the statistic that for people of wealth, that it will only last like 2 more generations until it's depleted, right?
Yeah.
And it goes to like, how Craig was saying, and I was saying that that success will not always breed success, right? Because a common saying is that greatness is the enemy of good, right? Or greatness is the enemy of good, because you could be doing good and everyone could be telling you you're doing good, but you get complacent, you get stuck, you get kind of just in that comfort zone, and you never want to attain anything more than that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why like that saying is kind of falls true, and the generational or lack of generational wealth statistic kind of gets supported.
Yeah. No, that was good there. Yeah. So, and then it goes down to our next thing we want to talk about, right? Make yourself excited to be challenged. All right. So, that's it's kind of like all right. So what I do in the morning, right? You know how you don't feel great about being, waking up, because you're getting up early in the morning and you got to get to work and all this stuff, right?
Shit sucks.
Yeah. So if you make yourself excited about the day, right? Like, like what's going to happen today, right? Not like in a negative way, but like, hey, what problem am I going to solve today? And obviously, you know how it is where we work, right? There's problems all the time. Something's coming up. Yeah. So
you
like
take a step and that'd be a problem.
yeah. So like you can either make it where it's a negative thing and you dread wherever you are, or you can make it a positive thing and accept it as a challenge. And because each challenge makes you grow, right? And then if you're growing, then you're gaining more experience. And if you're gaining more experience, guess what? You can either step off, do your own thing as a business, or you can go to another company and they're willing to pay you more money or whatever, right? You have all these different options if you look at your problems in a different light. And I guess that's how it all revolves back around, right? How, life is a beast. We're here to tame it. And if you can come up with these ways of like taming these problems in life, these struggles, you can be that next person, that better person on the other side of it. Because I feel like, nothing truly earned doesn't come, it doesn't come out of struggle. And I feel like I've always had to go through some type of issue to get to where I want. Nothing was go like, hey, let me have this. And it just shows up. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, you ask at the right time for something, possibly, right? Like, because if someone in need of need of talented people and you're asking for something, then you probably get it, right? But then sometimes you're put through a test to realize, do you belong here? Can you withstand, the pressure, the stress of whatever's going on? And that's how life is. Life is here to challenge you. And all you need to do is just be excited about it and fight to the next, the next problem, the next challenge. So you can just keep going.
Yeah, so kind of going into like, how I wake up, right? I always try to start with gratitude, right? It's just like a big thing, in my life that I really want to focus on. And it's not like I meditate or anything, but I try to be mindful of that it is lucky for me to be in a certain situation, right? It is lucky, like if you actually look at the statistics, right, of the chances of someone being born, right, it's 1 in 400 trillion, right? So, and I'm a numbers person, so that's a pretty big like chance for just a person to be born, right? But people have enough complaints, right? They just feel like they're not going certain places in life. So what I try to do, that trying to gets me to calm myself through those, whether it's a tough day or whatnot, or whether I know that there's going to be a lot of things that I have to have on my plate, is just, start with gratitude, right? I'm glad I woke up in the morning, right? I'm glad that, I have my girlfriend with me. I'm glad I have a house. I'm glad I have certain things. And it just kind of puts me in a good headspace when I first wake up, right? And then, I do that for like, 30 minutes, right? And then, try to do things like, and like Craig said, our entire career is solving problems, right? And it could be a big problem, could be small problems, it could be things that you have to work on with other people, right? And, how you solve problems, how you look for problems to solve is, can be dependent on your personality, but in some shape or form, you're going to have to solve problems, right? And especially for those of success, that's how they got successful. They found a problem, they found something that had a gap, and they fixed it, right? Or they found a solution, right? Or they continue to find more solutions towards other problems. And that's just part of, taking responsibility, right? Because when you're solving a problem, you're taking responsibility of that problem. You're saying that, hey, I can fix this, so I will take responsibility if this is broken, that I can fix it, right? I have the solution. If it's something, say in our professional lives, if it's as simple as like a computer breaking down for whatever reason, right? I will take responsibility to figure out how this happened, diagnose it, whatever it is, and fix it up.
Yeah.
And that's just part of life, and like Craig's been saying, it is really taming it, and not letting it tame you. Because if you're one of those people that just brings problems, I can tell you that most people probably don't want to be around you, right? Because you're probably causing them more stress than they need.
Yeah.
Right. That's why, like, one of my big things is like, don't really ever come, like, you can come with me with problems, right? I'll take as many of the problems as you can throw at me. I'm down for it. But if you continue to do it and you're not providing any solutions, I'm going to start questioning why you're in a certain position or why you're there, right?
Yeah.
Because you're no longer providing a solution. You're no longer contributing to the cause. Then
your usefulness or your purpose in that role kind of diminishes.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, I had a sergeant major that said this, and she was, she's okay with people complaining, because once you reach a high position, right, you're always going to have someone that complains. But her thing was, if you're going to complain, come with a solution. So, to help or solve, because they're not looking at what the position of a person higher is dealing with. They got problems all day long. So if you got complaints, right, and not to say that your solution is the best solution, but it's an idea, and coming with that idea helps create a real solution for it. Because if it gets reviewed by the right people and they go like, okay, yeah, that actually sounds like a viable idea. Let's go for it, right? Yeah. So yes, that's kind of like what I took from that, when she used to say that if you got a problem, come with a solution. All right. Now we're getting on down, right? We're getting towards the end. Frugal and cheap. All right. So for this frugal and cheap, we got driving all over town to find a deal. Yeah. How do you feel about that one?
I'm lazy as hell, man. I'm going with cheap because I'm not going anywhere. I'll pay someone, man. Like, I'm good. I ain't finding no deals. No, I don't know. Like, I think nowadays it'd probably be kind of cheap to probably do that, because online shopping's kind of about. But no, I mean, but I've been seeing people, man. Like, people still go to like garage sales, estate sales. People still be pulling up to people's houses where they like put stuff out in the lawn, or out in the front, and still grabbing it. And, it's cool. Not for me, but it's still cool.
Yeah. No, I would say that it's only frugal if you could strategically plan out wherever you're going to be, right? I think it would be frugal, but it's probably leaning towards more cheap, because you're only looking at the dollar value, right? Instead of looking at like, all right, so say I'm usually on this side of town anyway, right? Then how about I just stop by on the way home, or, whatever, right? Or if wherever you are, you kind of plan it out, and maybe you can make it where it's more of a frugal thing, because think about it, as gas is getting expensive, or it's coming down now, but it was expensive, right? And if you're driving all around town, you're probably losing money on your deal that you were going after. And I guess if it was something that of high value that you were getting at a low value, which that would actually make it worth it. So say if you were buying a vehicle, right? Normally this vehicle's $20,000. This person, they're just fed up with the car, right? But the car is still in good condition, and you're like, all right, I know what's wrong with it, and then you go and purchase it for a fraction of like for half the price, right? And you probably made out pretty good, where it's actually worth driving around town looking for a deal, right?
I mean, and some people are like going back to cars. Like, people go to like different cities and go buy a car.
Yeah.
Right. Because it could be cheaper in that city for whatever reason, but like, say same car here, be like 5K, a little bit more here, go somewhere like Houston, Austin, a little bit cheaper. Then, that makes it a deal. But like you said, that's very intentional on what they're doing. Like, they expect to go there for that cheaper price, and I'm hoping people wouldn't just go there for like $1,000 cheaper, because that's
exactly
that's a little cheap.
So that
if the difference is pennies, then that's cheap. If the difference is like a decent amount, like a few grand, then okay, I'll support you.
Yeah. So that's kind of like how I was looking at that one. There's like, if you got to go all around town just to save a buck, you're probably losing, but if you can actually make it worth your while, like you cutting off grands at a time, like 5-10 grand, and you got it for a decent price. Now we're talking. And I mean, and you never know, right? Someone that's of higher income, where it doesn't make sense at all, right? Like it works out better for them to have someone deliver it to them, or
because their time is money, man.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So it'll be a waste of their time to go searching for something when they already have. They could pretty much get everything they need.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right, we made it through.
Yeah. Through.
Yeah. So, all right, you want to close this out?
Yes, sir. All right. This is Jay and Craig, Troubleshooting Life podcast. Say appreciate everyone listening. See you next week, man.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. See you next week.